Viewers, welcome replay viewers. This is Janice Temple with World Black History on Periscope. Welcome. Hi, Paula, how are you doing? Welcome. Please do share and invite. We're doing Black History Month today. It's good to see you, Paula. Hi, CB Yellow Jacket. Welcome. How are you doing? How are you doing? So please do share and invite. I'm going to give you the history. We're on Rockville's African American Heritage Walking Tour. And so this is a continuation from yesterday. And this is the Beal Dawson House in Rockville, Maryland. And so there's a great deal of Civil War history and slavery history here. Hi, Cheryl. How are you doing? Please do share and invite. Invite followers to come in. This is going to be a fairly quick scope. So what you're looking at is the Beal Dawson House. Hi, Recco 161, welcome. And this is a garden right here with a sundial. So tell me, how is my connection? Can you hear and see everything? Give me a 1 if you can hear me. Give me a 1 if you can hear. Can you hear and see? 1, thank you. And the connection is good? The connection is good? Okay. So the Beal Dawson House was owned by Upton. Oh, hi, how are you doing? Hey Cheryl, how's everything going? So, Upton Beal was a wealthy landowner. Welcome, De La Ponce. Please share this out and invite. Upton Beal was a wealthy landowner and clerk of court. He owned 25 slaves when he died in 1827. After Upton Beal died, the family did not purchase additional slaves. Hi, Auntie G, welcome. Please share and invite. So we're in Rockville, Maryland, on the Rockville African American Heritage Walking Tour, and this is site number 7. It's the Beal Dawson House, and so that's what we're looking at. Is the Beal Dawson House. And Upton Beal was a wealthy landowner who owned 25 slaves, and when he died in 1827, it says the family did not purchase additional slaves. However, by 1860, the Beal family owned 52 slaves. The Beal family did not sell the children of their slaves. The slaves worked in the house or on the farm or at one of the other family properties. And you can see the house does extend back, so I imagine it went quite a ways. The Beals did hire out slaves for service to families in Washington, D.C., and many of the families resided with, many of the enslaved people resided with these families. And then in 1862, the Beal sisters freed the 17 slaves who worked in Washington, D.C. The Beal sisters received $9,400 for them under a federal compensation program. The remaining slaves were freed when emancipation was granted in 1864. The Beals sold their former slaves the land along Martin's Lane and Middle Lane, and so that's this street here. This is the street that they're referring to. So they sold their enslaved people, formerly enslaved people, the land along this street. And those families were made up of free and enslaved African Americans. The community was called Haiti, and Haiti was Rockville's first African American neighborhood. So, and then this is what the house looked like back then. So that's the Beal Dawson House. And this is on Rockville's African American Heritage Walking Tour. So we're going to walk a little bit closer to the house. I'm not, it says that it's open Wednesday through Sunday, but I don't see any cars, so I don't know if it's open or not. Next door is a research library, and this building right here is a museum shop and tickets. So this is the Beal Dawson house, and that's the side. So let's see. But I don't think anybody's in here today. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in there. Do I still have a connection? Give me a 1 if you guys can see. Yeah, they're not open. So we'll just walk around the house. So this is the path that leads along the side of the house. I'll have to come back and see when they're open. Yes, it's good? Okay, wonderful. Because I know it said before when I moved that I didn't have a connection. I was like, what happened to it? So this is the side of the house. That's an entrance. So the Dawsons own, well, the name is the name of a local grocery store, but it's a pretty upscale grocery store. Okay, so City of Rockville, 1815, historic property, placed on the National Register of Historic Places. So we were looking at the side of the house. This is the front of the house. So I'm gonna try and get back so you guys can see it. So this is the front of the Beal Dawson house. And so the enslaved people probably would have, I guess, been upstairs normally, or maybe next door, but it said that they live with the family. That's where they lived. And this is what remains of what was once the farm. So we're just going to do a walking tour of the back of it. Oh, I have a lovely troll. Thank you, troll. I broke my glasses, guys. Terrible. Okay, so the Beal family was prominent in Rockville and became one of the largest slave-only families in Montgomery County. Upton Beal, a wealthy landowner and clerk of the court, built this house in about 1815. When he died in 1827, he owned 25 slaves who worked here at the city house, at one of his mills on Watts Branch, or his rural property, Belmont. His wife and later 3 daughters continued farming operations in the country on their 67-acre parcel here in Rockville. So they had 67 acres. That's quite a bit of land. 67 acres. The Beal daughters, okay, the slaves worked the land, cooked, cleaned, tended kitchen gardens, canned, washed, ironed, and cared for livestock. And so they did that all here. The Beal daughters inherited their mothers' and grandfathers' slaves, bringing their total to 40 slaves by 1853. The 1860 census shows that the Beals owned 52 slaves in that year, indicating that many children have been born into their ownership. The sisters apparently never bought or sold any slaves save one. Oh, okay, now it's a different story. Okay, so in 1850, Jane Beal sold John Henson to Josiah Henson for $250. It is presumed that John is the brother that Josiah Henson mentions purchasing from Maryland in his autobiography. Oh my God, I didn't know that. So John Henson, Josiah Henson's brother, was one of their slaves, and they sold John to Josiah Henson. So Josiah Henson wrote the autobiography of the life of Josiah Henson, and he was the subject of Uncle Tom's Cabin. So you guys can look at that scope from yesterday. We scoped about Josiah Henson yesterday. So that's amazing. So the majority of the Beal slaves were housed in 3 slave quarters on different properties. Okay, so they had slave quarters for them. They didn't live in the house. So it's possible that one of these buildings back here could have been their slave quarters. So they lived separately from the family. They lived separately from the family. Rooms for the household slaves were likely located above the kitchen wing over the archway. Okay, so that's the archway. So the slaves, it says, were over the kitchen wing above the archway, and that's the archway right there. Where they had the luxury of 3 rooms with windows and fireplaces. Well, there are 4 windows there. I'm not sure. Okay, well, when we come back, we will have specifics, because there are 4 windows there over that archway, so that can't be it. Field slaves of Rockville property likely lived in quarters at the north edge of the property near Martin's Lane. So that might possibly be a slave quarter. In addition, the Beals hired out slaves for service in Washington, D.C., many of them residing there with their families they worked for. In 1862, the Beal sisters freed the 17 slaves who worked in D.C. and received $9,400 for them under a federal compensation program. The rest were not freed until emancipation was granted in Maryland on November 1st, 1864. The Beals sold numerous small parcels of their land to the freed slaves and other African American families, notably along Martin's Lane and Middle Lane, became 2 of Rockville's black neighborhoods. So they helped to create the black neighborhoods in Rockville by freeing their slaves and then selling land to them. So, I don't know. I was trying to see in, but I can't see. So they're definitely not open, and we will come back and check them out when they're open on another day. So, but that is the Beal house. Maybe we can get a closer look at the garden here. Hi, welcome, welcome. So this is the garden. Oh, this was a medicinal garden. Hi, how are you doing? Oh, well, I'm trying to see if I can go in. But it was a medicinal garden. Trying to get this door open. There we go. We've got the door open. So let's check out their little garden here. I'm gonna go in and see the garden. There's a sundial. Well, I bet it's beautiful when the flowers and things are blooming. So let's see what it says about the garden here. So the enslaved people would have worked in this garden. And well, it talks about some of the things that they grow here. We'll have to come back when the garden is in bloom, you guys. So that is their garden. It's a nice place. And I wonder what that is. This house right here. With the little door to it. Okay. Hey, is that Alan? Hi, how are you? I wonder what this is right here. It doesn't say what that one is. So that is the Beal Dawson house. And we will continue. There's several more sites. We will continue another day exploring the African American Heritage Trail here in Rockville, Maryland. So I want to thank you guys for joining and sharing and inviting. Let's see, there's another placard here. What does this one say? Slavery in Rockville, Gettysburg Campaign. It's got dirt. Well, I would show it to you, but it's got bird poop all over it. So it says in April 1862, Congress abolished slavery in Washington, D.C. district. Slaveholders were eligible for monetary compensation when they manumitted, freed their slaves. Because the Beal sisters held several slaves who worked in the district, they qualified for compensation and received $9,400 for 17 people. During the war, the congregation of Rockville Methodist Episcopal Church split over the issue of slavery. The congregation included both blacks and whites. Whites sat downstairs while slaves and freemen worshiped upstairs in the gallery. Blacks served as local preachers and class leaders, but took subservient roles to whites in the service. When white slave-holding members withdrew in 1863, they formed the Methodist Episcopal Church South and built what is now Rockville United Methodist Church across the street. I don't know where that is. Across the street where, I'm not sure. The black congregation kept the original church on Wood Lane, a block north of here, known as Jerusalem Mount Pleasant United Methodist Church. Some slaves took advantage of the chaos of war. Dora Higgins, a Rockville resident, noted that when Confederate General Jeffrey B. Stewart and his cavalry occupied the town on June 28, 1863, during the Gettysburg campaign, several slaves, including her cook, Maria, cleared out. They escaped, basically. Very, very smart people. So, Josiah Henson lived in south of Rockville. He learned of the Underground Railroad, and Harriet Beecher Stowe based her character, Uncle Tom, on him. And then Mariah Weems lived in slave trader Charles M. Price's Rockville home. Dressed as a boy, she escaped via the Underground Railroad in 1855. An estimated 100,000 slaves fled bondage between 1830 and 1865. And it says the first Rockvillian to enlist in the Union Army may have been George Patterson, a free black man, in August 1862. Reuben Hill, a slave, was twice drafted, and his owner, Samuel Stonestream, paid his commutation. Hill's home, an historic site, stands in nearby Lincoln Park. Maryland abolished slavery in November 1864. So that's what happened here. So thanks for joining, guys. And I'm going to close down. And I will see you guys when we do the next Rockville African American Heritage Tour. Thanks for joining.